Hey everybody, today we're going to take a look at this, the Kanger Unitank, right here on my vaping place. Hey everybody, nice of you to join me today. Thanks for coming. Alright, what we're going to discuss today is this. It's the Kanger Unitank, or Unitank, whichever pronunciation you care to use. It's a polycarbonate Clearomizer tank. It is top fill, and it has some rather interesting engineering to it. Yeah, it has some rather interesting engineering. That's all I'm going to say about this until we get down below decks to the build deck, and you can see what I'm talking about. It's a good little tank. She wicks very nicely. Uses the same coils, like I said before, for that the Pro Tank uses and the Pro Tank 2 uses, and I believe also the EVOD uses. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It works. It works well. It's top fill. It has a polycarbonate tank. You can take it apart to clean it, so there's really no issue with that. 50-50 juice is best used in it, so that's all I'm going to say about it for now. Let's get down to the build deck and I'll let you take a look at it, and you can see exactly where I'm coming from and what I'm saying about it, and you'll understand it a little bit more. So let's get down and get personal with the Kanger Unitank. Okay folks, here we are taking a look at the Kanger Unitank. Now, just like the Kanger Pro Tank, this is an older second generation Clearomizer tank. This is a little bit more advanced than the Pro Tank. Unfortunately, this particular tank does not have excuse me, I still got this cold working on me. It's driving me nuts here. This thing's been hanging on like crazy on me. I can't seem to get rid of this darn thing. Okay, like I was saying, unfortunately, this particular tank does not have all of the options that the Pro Tank has for it. And I'll show you why in a minute or two. The way this was designed, it really couldn't get any kind of options for it. Let's take a look at the outside. U.S. patent number, French, Chinese patent numbers. Okay. This is the blue tank. Top filling, bottom coil. Usual stuff. Quick start guide on the back, the same as the Pro Tank does. On here, there was someplace on here. There was one of the scratch and checks, but it also comes with the hologram sticker on here. So put that to one side for a minute or two and we'll take a look at this. This is the user manual that comes with it, with suitable voltage and resistance ranges. You can get them all the way from, you can get coils from this, I believe, from 1.2 ohms all the way up to like 3 ohms. Shows you how to fill the tank. Gives you an exploded view of all of the different things. Yes, you are seeing a spring here. I'll explain the reason for that in a minute. Just like with my Pro Tank that I had, it comes with a beauty ring for use on Ego Cone style threaded mods. Comes with 2 coils. Now, if you remember, when I showed you, excuse me, the Pro Tank, what it looked like, well, guess what? They're exactly the same coils. Single coil, single horizontal coil, silica wicked, same exact coil. That's one of the things that really attracted me to this when I first saw it.
as well as the fact that, yes, this is top filling. There she is. Pretty little thing, isn't she? All right, let's put this to one side and take a look at this. Now, it has a replaceable 510 style drip tip that you can throw any drip tip that you want in here. Show you what happens when you put what it looks like when you put a Pro Tank drip tip on it. Doesn't look quite so pretty because of the fact you have that little ledge there, which is one of the reasons why this one's got such a flare on it. So it gives you that nice smooth line on there. But it does show you that you can put other 510 drip tips on. Like I said, this is a top filler. Bottom horizontal coil. This does get its air through the 510, which is right there. You can see the little hole there. Hopefully, if this thing will focus in properly. Come on, focus, baby, focus. She's not going to focus. She's going to be a little pain, isn't she? Yeah. Ah, there we go. There you go. Now you can see it. There's the hole right there. Okay. Bottom coil. Just like the exact same coil that's used on the Pro Tank. Fits in there just like the standard Pro Tank base. As you can see, this is a slightly larger base with a slightly larger area here for a juice well. And yes, you did see a spring here. This spring fits down over the stem of the coil head and goes in here. This is what allows you to do a top fill. This is a polycarbonate tank. This is not glass. And this metal band here is permanently attached. You cannot change it. When you buy this, you buy it the color that you want, and that's it. If something should happen to this, you cannot get any replacements for these. This tank, by the way, is no longer available. This has not been available for a while. Okay? So you're going to have a hard time finding this. If you can find one out there, these are nice little tanks, but they're almost impossible to find. Now, when it's fully assembled like this, you would fill your juice up here between the center chimney and the outer side here, right in through one of these three little holes. One of them would here be where you put the liquid in. The other two would be allow the airflow out. Then once that's in, you would take your cap and you put it in here, like so. Now, watch what happens when I press the cap down. This is where all your juice would be, right in here. Okay? Now, when I press the cap down, watch this. See it? That little silicone gasket on the end of that piston, that spring-loaded piston, when you put the cap on, moves down. When that moves down, that opens up the seal here on this little piece of plastic that's inside the tank, allowing the juice from the top portion here to come down and fill this. Okay? Now, when you push that down, juice flow comes in here, saturates your coils, and allows you to vape. Now, when you take this off, this pops back up into place, sealing that off, allowing you to fill more juice in. Never vape this below about here. From here to here, consider this a full tank. Never vape it once it gets below 1/3 of the upper vape chamber. Because what's going to happen is that it's not going to fill up this bottom chamber properly enough. You'll wind up with an air bubble in here that's going to keep juice from in here. This was a good idea. This tank does work. It works very well when it works. Okay? I really do like this tank. This tank is a phenomenal little tank. It does work. But the problem with keeping these coils fed with juice is a real royal pain in the you-know-what. Okay? You have to keep tipping it around and everything else to see if you can get that bubble to come up through those little slits there. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Take this off here. See those little slits? Right there, right there, and right there. That's how the air, when you suck on this here, this is the chimney. When you suck on this and you vape it, you develop a negative pressure in this lower chamber. You develop a negative pressure inside the coil head. That sucks juice in from this chamber, lower chamber, in through the wicking, into there. Now, when you stop sucking, the air comes in and you get a little bubble. That produces an extra pressure. I'm not exactly explaining this too well right now. Like I said, I'm not feeling that great, so please forgive me. But yeah, juice filling, big problem with this. Not so big a problem that it is not a good tank to use, but it can be a problem. It's something you have to constantly keep watching on. It's not like you can fill it, use it, and forget about it. You really need to keep an eye on how much juice you have here in the upper tank and how it's getting into the lower tank. Other than that, it works fine. I have used this for quite a while, this tank, and I actually bought like 4 of these tanks. I have 2 of them that I'm keeping back. I have already given away a couple of these tanks to a couple of different people, new vapors who needed tanks and stuff like that, who couldn't afford it for one reason or other. Either they were out of work or, whatever. So that's pretty much it. Let's go back up to FaceTime and we'll fill this thing up and we'll vape on it and we'll see what happens. See you back above decks.
Hey everybody, glad to see you made it topside. No, you're not seeing things. Yes, I do have a different shirt on. This is the next day. After I got through doing the recording yesterday of this portion of the review, I went in and I checked and I noticed that, oops, I hadn't engaged the mic for some reason. I don't know why, but it happens. Abject lesson to new reviewers: make sure your mic is turned on. So this way you're not standing there doing a mime operation, okay? Just saying. Actually, in a way, it turned out that it was good that I didn't have the audio for that, because I got so PO'd at myself that for doing a totally stupid boner operation, that I went off and I just said, screw this. Went off, watched a couple of videos, tried to calm down. In the process, I was watching somebody else's review on something else. I don't even remember what it was now. But this gentleman had a link in one of his videos down below to a website. And I started poking around in there, and I noticed that this site had ProTank 2s for sale. And I'm looking at the price, I'm going, good price. It's like 14 and change and stuff like that. I started poking around on a few other sites, started looking around. I found out that, there are sites out there who have the Unitanks, like I have here, still for sale. So, like I had said in the pre-unboxing section, I didn't think if there was anybody who still had them around. Well, I was wrong. There are. All of the information is going to be in the show description down below. Just underneath the show description, I'll have a list of all the different websites with URLs for them. Prices that I found on the site. You may have to poke around on the site a little bit, but they are there. The prices and stuff like that that I will have listed in there will be good as of yesterday. Today, I don't know if they still have any in stock. They may have sold out overnight. I don't know. But it's always possible. They have air control valves. They have ProTank Minis, ProTank 2s, ProTank 2 Minis, ProTank 2s. There are some that have Unitanks, and like the one I have here, as well as Unitank Minis, the Ego threaded version, the one that fits on the little Ego pens. So check it out. They're all there. To answer one of the gentlemen who had asked me questions in the ProTank 2 version, no, I have not found any original ProTank out there in the wild for sale, brandy new. If you want a ProTank, the older version ProTanks, then you're going to have to probably deal with that as being used. If the ProTank 2 works just as well for you, then, well, you can probably pick up a couple of them that are still out there, brandy new as well. Information down below. Back on subject. Unitanks. Unitanks, these things have some issues. Most of the issues with these tanks revolve around the top fill system and the way it was engineered. I think because, personally, this is my own personal view on this. The reason why I believe this is a discontinued tank now is for the simple reason it is the filling system. The filling system is just a little too janky. The major issue that this thing has is getting the juice from the top tank into the bottom tank to keep the wicks fed. When you take this top section off to fill it, you fill up the upper tank. When you put the top section on, it depresses the piston, allowing the juice to flow through. If you use too high a VG juice in here, it's not going to flow properly. With this thing, you have to use a 50-50. You really do. Anything more than a 50-50 is not going to work properly. Also, getting the air bubble that forms here in the lower tank up into the upper tank, thus keeping the lower tank completely full of juice. That's another issue with this, the way it was designed. That's the major issue with this. Okay? Also, refilling it once there's juice down here, that can get a little janky at times as well. It has a couple of issues. Nothing that cannot be lived with. Also, the other issue that this thing has is that while there are a lot of people out there who may have tried a sub-ohm tank, maybe their buddy, while they were still smokers, maybe their buddy had a sub-ohm tank, they tried it, they got that taste of the free, loose, airy draw, and now they try something like this. This has not got a free, loose, airy draw like a sub-tank has. This is a restrictive mouth-to-lung draw. Get used to it. That's the nature of the beast. When you vape these type of Clearomizers, you have to take your time. Slow, steady, even draws. You do that, you're going to have no issues. You won't wind up with a dry hit. It'll work for you. The tank will work. If you try to draw on this thing, I mean try to get instant lung fill of stuff, it's not going to work. You're going to wind up drawing all the juice off of the wick, and you're going to get yourself a dry hit because the wick is not going to be able to keep up with the demand that you're putting on it. It's the simple fact. Deal with it. It's the nature of the beast. You have to work with the equipment that you're using. Now, would I buy this tank again? Yeah, in a heartbeat. For the price, you can't beat it. $5, $6, $7 for a tank that is 1,000% better than an iClear 16 or an iClear 30 that's got got a top coil system. Hell yeah. Yes, this uses silica wick in here, but it works better than the silica wick that's used in the eye clears. Bottom fed. Gravity keeps pushing juice into it, as opposed to top wicked tanks. Yes, I would buy this tank. This tank is a good starter tank. It really is. Even with the issues with the filling that it's got, it works quite well. It's $5, $6, $7, depending upon where you get it and who's got it in stock. You put this onto a $5, $10 Ego style battery. You get this under $20. You're up and running with a tank that will be able to be used on more advanced mods if you decide to stick with vaping. If you don't have a lot of money for your vape budget, I mean, if it's as tight as the skin on a prune, you can't beat it. You got yourself a tank that you can be used later on as you progress in your vaping. You upgrade your mod, you still got this, you still use this. When the time comes, you got more money, you can afford to get yourself a better tank, you get a better tank and you use it with your mod that you just bought. In the meantime, bang, 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 you upgrade as you can. This tank will take you into the future, and it will take you to a point where you'll be more advanced vapor, you'll know what you like, you'll know what you don't like, and you'll be able to do things. Now, I also want to address something that was mentioned by a couple of viewers, not only in the comment section on my previous video, but also through other communications channels. When I mention recoiling and re-wicking these coil heads, I'm not saying that you have to. I'm just saying that if you want to, you can. Okay? If recoiling and re-wicking is not your shtick, hey, that's cool. You just put in a new coil head, you're up and running. If you have a tight budget, if you have to work within your vape budget and you just can't deal with it, then you buy yourself 5, 10, maybe 15 coil heads. As they get used up, you recoil them, you re-wick them. You can continue to do that for maybe 5, 10 times on each coil head. You save yourself a lot of money this way. Okay? Just saying. Let me show you how you fill this. Okay? You take off the top. Inside, you're going to see 3 pieces that come from the outside. I'm just going to hold this up and see if you can see it. There you go. See that? Those 3 little pieces of blue plastic in there? That supports the center chimney, the piston that's in there. Now, you take this, you put it into one of those holes, you fill this up. I'm only going to fill this up halfway because this is, like I said, this is like the 10th time I've recorded this today. So, I don't want to waste juice. I'm sorry. I'm freaking stingy. So, see that? That's what the top cap of this looks like. Notice how that looks like a British RAF plane markings? This centerpiece here fits right smack into the centerpiece there on the chimney, like so. When you push this down, the piston goes down and it will put juice into the into the bottom section. Let's see if I can try and get this thing to focus in on this. Come on. Now it's not going to do it. Alright, let's see if it'll take it. There we go. Now we got some juice in there. See, that's, like I said, that's one of the issues with this tank. Keeping that bottom tank filled and keeping the air bubble, getting the air bubble up into the top section. You know, every other time I've done this, I get a good shot of this tank here like this doing this. For one reason or another, the video turned out like crap. Well, sorry. Okay, so we'll put this on here. Let me put this on the SVD and I'll show you how she vapes. Okay. Oh, there you go. See? Juice went down. Okay. This is a 2-ohm coil. Mouth to lung. Slow and steady wins the race. This is a gentleman's vape. This is not a cloud chucker. So you have to do slow, steady draws, because otherwise if you try to suck it in all at once, the wicking is not going to be able to keep up with the demand for vape. You will wind up with a dry hit. So if you keep a slow, steady draw on this, the wicking will be able to keep up with your demand and you will not wind up having an issue with a dry hit. Now I'm going to try and carb this. Draw some air in on either side of my pursed lips right around where the mouthpiece is, just to show you the kind of pretty much the maximum amount of vape production that you're going to do. That was a direct lung carbed. Yes, you can do direct lung with this, but like I said, because this of the wicking that this has, even with a 50-50 juice, you're going to have to take it easy with this. This is not a cloud chucker. This is not something where you get a lot of vape production with it in a short period of time. You have to take your time. Like I said, it's a gentleman's vape. Okay? Having said all of this, would I buy this tank again? Yes, I would. Primarily because A, it works. B, the price. If you don't have a lot of money to spend on your vaping gear, you can get yourself good gear that will continue into the future for the price. If you're new to vaping and you're not sure whether or not you want to stay with vaping, and you don't want to spend a lot of money on gear, I understand that. Been there, done that. Like I said in the last video, I didn't start vaping because I was wanting to quit or I wanted to get into vaping. I got into vaping because smokes were just getting way too damn expensive and I was trying to figure out a way of cutting down on how much it was going to cost me. Okay? This tank, perfectly cool. Ego twist battery, $5, $10, $15 depending upon where you get it. $5, $7 tank. Under $20, you're up and running without the cost of your juice. Find out whether vaping is for you. I hope it is, but there are some people that vaping just doesn't work for. Under $20, you haven't got too much skin in the game. If you don't like it, you can go back and do what you got to do. If you like it, you can always take this tank and carry it on into your vaping in the future. Okay? That's where it's at. Bottom line. Can't get any simpler than that. If you got any questions, you got any comments, put them in the comment section down below. I will try and answer them. If I don't have the answer for you, I will try and point you to a place where you can get the answers. Okay? If I don't know, if I can't find it, I'll let you know that too. All right? Having said, once again, sorry about all the noise. Having said all of that, take care. God bless. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. Bye for now.